Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to us tonight. Everybody at home, thank you for turning on your TV onto this channel this time. Got a little song called If You Want to Get to Heaven, Gotta Raise a Little Hell.
Hey, Color Me Dad is a podcast about anything we think is interesting or funny, including lots of music and pop culture discussion, and of course dad-isms ad-libbed by us, three friends who have cracked each other up for the last 25 years. Please check out our first episode, The Cargo Pants Embargo.
Let's raise it. Did you saw The Wild Wonderful Whites?
I really never saw anything but clips on that, to be honest.
There's one great scene in it with her just at an apartment partying, and one of the chicks like has these pills out, and I guess she's like crushing them up or whatever, and she's like, Jesse, you want some? And he just looks at the camera and goes, well, turn me on, turn it up, and turn me loose.
You guys know I was in rehab with one of his siblings.
I didn't know that.
Okay, stop, because that'll come in useful.
We're recording, just so you know.
It was Sue Bob. She could not read or
No!
write. Yes.
So, from the actual movie.
I don't know. She was the not Mamie.
Right.
The youngest one.
Sue Bob, talk like this.
Yeah, she had.
Y'all got mozzarella cheese sticks?
Yes.
That's awesome.
She could not read or write. And I used to read letters people would send her.
Oh, man.
Did you get any from the family?
No. They would send them to her.
Right.
And
what I'm saying, did any she receive, were they from?
Were they from Jesco?
Yeah. Or Mamie?
You know, to be honest with you, that part was so long ago, I don't really remember.
True. We saw Jesco in Atlanta, because Jesco tours now. Well, I used to. He tours, and basically they just play music and he tap dances. And they pay him largely.
Why not?
So we went. This was actually awesome. We go, and Doug was really, really mad because he couldn't get off work. So we see the show and everything, and at the end of it, I grabbed one of the flyers off the wall because it had his, it's a Jesco poster basically. So I take it to him. I'm like, hey man, can you sign this for my friend Doug? Can you write, Doug, quit your job, Jesco? Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, sure. How do you spell that? I said, it's D-O-U-G. He said, no, how do you spell quit? Which was amazing on two different levels, because one, he couldn't spell it, and obviously Jesco don't know even how to spell the word quit, because he ain't stopping.
Kind of that's where you're heading with that.
So, and the reason I even thought of that is Mamie was there with him as like his handler, and she overheard us talking. We're like, yeah, Jesco, we're from West Virginia too, and she's like, whereabouts? We're like, we're from Huntington, West Virginia. And she goes, ooh, Cabell County.
I love your impression when you say what she said.
Where's the mound? I mean, have you been down there? Have you been to Boone County?
No. No, I would be all about it.
I mean, you say that, but...
Well, no, I'm talking, I would be the three of us pile in a car and get out there as
we would get shot.
You don't have to get out of the car. You don't have to.
They would know within minutes that there were strangers down there. I'm telling you, you don't understand how these places work.
There was a friend. So I didn't know this guy so well, but he was a good friend of Doug's. Paul Weaver played in and out of bands around Charleston and stuff. We were in high school playing in bands and whatnot. He lived down there, and he worked at a gas station, and there was a guy that frequented the gas station like a local Boone County guy, and he was a backyard wrestler type. He was really into wrestling and did backyard wrestling, and he called himself the Jew Holler Rambler. And he would, and his move, his like signature finishing move, I guess, was something he called the STF. And when he talked about the STF, he'd go, STF, break your neck clean off. And one day Paul asked him, well, STF, what does that stand for? And he said, doesn't matter what it stands for, it matters what it can do. So STF didn't stand for anything. It was just, well,
it just sounded good.
Jake Snake's got the DDT. I got me the STF.
I got me the STF. Got me an STF right here, boys. If you want to keep on talking, I'm going to give it to you. Wow. Well, here we are, all mic'd up with nothing to say. The very first episode of Color Me Dad. Is that? Do we want to call it that?
Sure. I think the worst case that we're not going to do what every podcast does and sit there in the first episode. This first episode's just about trying to figure out what this thing's called, man.
Well, we just did that, but
yeah. We pre-discussed it and we came into it like,
I really don't know.
I don't know
what it is. Like,
well, it was a 90s hip hop.
No, I know that.
One guy had long hair though. That made it accessible, to the ladies. And that's what we're going to be associated with for the rest of our lives.
You don't know what the podcast is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, Dad's obviously. I mean,
I can tell you the way I see it.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I don't even know if I could do that. It was. I think just from my point of view, I got really just sucked into a bunch of different podcasts and was listening to them often, and then really thought it was kind of crazy that I was actually enjoying them as much as I was, because it's definitely not very exciting to just sit around and listen to three dudes talk about nothing for however long. But when coming back into town, when we kind of reconnected and started hanging out and just having our little after church Starbucks dates and just sitting around talking, I would kind of just think to myself,
best dates.
I enjoy listening to this just as much as now granted, I'm biased. And that's the best thing about this, is this can't be anything but successful to me, because I could listen to us talk all day rather than anyone else.
And that's probably the peak audience we'll have.
Hey man, I'm down.
Imagine the treasures you'll have when I'm out of here in a couple of years. You'll be like, we still have those podcasts with Grandpa.
Where are you on?
Oh, my heart. Whatever. Car wreck. Who knows? I'm out of here any day. It's like
moving to
5,
Seattle next
4,
week.
3, 2, 1.
I think if any of us were going to ever move away, we would have done it.
Well, I did.
You did.
Came back.
That's Huntington. Huntington, you never leave for good.
I knew when I left Huntington that I would come back.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me the people that do leave that stay gone. Like, how do you do that?
How do you stay gone?
Don't know offhand if I know one. Oh, Jesse.
There's lots of people.
Chris Harbaugh.
Lots of people took off.
Jerry.
Yeah.
I mean,
never came back.
Discussing people that everyone else would have no idea what we're even talking about.
Well, that's the thing, is if you listen long enough, you'll know who these people are.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
I want to really introduce, coffee to the world.
Is that where you want to be when Jesus comes back?
At coffee?
Sitting here and telling everybody about coffee?
Coffee. It's coffee. People would probably think his name's Coffee, but...
Also, from the whole dad angle, if there was one of the things when we do hang out and talk is dad stuff, and it's interesting because we're at different levels at it. Mm-hmm. Because Wes has been doing this for a lot longer. And
almost
more
16 years.
Experience and stuff like that. I came into it, I'm kind of jutted in just a few years ago with my first new baby and a stepson, which is a teenager, which is something that Wes isn't even familiar about. And we would sit and talk about this stuff for hours, and Andy would just kind of sit around, just shaking his head, being like, you guys are screwed. And now...
Because I had a stepdad.
And now now it's happening for you. You have your first one on the way. So that will be interesting to hear us talk about stuff. And because the stuff at the beginning is really interesting because it's terrifying, it's fun, it's every cliche thing that you hear everyone say.
But also, here we are, we get to document Andy's going up the top of a roller coaster, that feeling of it's happening, I can't get off of this. And so we get to kind of document, tell us where you are on that on that roller coaster? What's it called when it's going up the incline?
The best way I could describe that is it's more of like you're in line for the roller coaster. You see other people on the roller coaster. You're excited. You don't think about any of the negative parts about being on a fast roller coaster. You're like, this is going to be fun. It's going to be great. I'm only thinking about positive things about being on a roller coaster.
I was always the guy in line for the roller coaster thinking, I don't even want to be on this roller coaster. I just don't want the other people I'm with to make fun of me. Which is kind of...
I mean, yeah.
Is that why you're having a kid?
I figure if I didn't have one, you guys would...
We're just going to keep making fun of you till you have one.
This is how I prove my manhood.
You would if you could, but you can't.
Hank? What's wrong, Hank?
Works for tips. But no, one of the things I was also talking about is this is actually, like, if it all ended tomorrow, let's say if heaven forbid something happened to you right before your daughter is born, or something happened to me today on the way home and having, a 2-year-old or whatever, these kids aren't going to know us. Well, I think this is a great way to, like, if you have, who are you, when are you being like the most honest or putting your real self out there more so than sitting around with your buddies, like just talking about whatever. So like it would be awesome, like this is something that's documented, that's always there, that one day your kid can go back to and be like, this was what my dad was like. For better or worse.
For better or worse.
I'm sure whatever format this is going to be in, by the time my kid's old enough to do that.
A burnt CD in your sock drawer.
Yeah. This is going to be the equivalent of pulling out a floppy disk with a wave on it.
No, these will live forever. My kids, I've got, my 2 oldest daughters are not twins, but they kind of act and look like twins. I call them the twin twisters. And we told them about this, and they were just thrilled to death. They're like, that's going to be hilarious. That's going to be the best thing ever. And
really?
Kids aren't supposed to think that way, right? They're supposed to be like, Dad, podcast, come on. But they're like, that would be awesome. I don't know why.
Yeah, you have very supportive kids.
Because they are miniature versions of him.
And because he rules with an iron fist.
So
we were talking about this earlier, like me and Tara were talking about how
Tara is Andy's significant other.
Yeah. How it's funny how like some parents have kids who look nothing like them. Some parents have kids who are a good even mix, and some have ones that literally look like just miniature versions of themselves. And she has not met all of your kids, or she did once. And she was asking about that. I was like, all of his daughters just look like different expressions of Wes. Like your oldest daughter is you. Your middle daughter is another version of you. Your youngest daughter is
sort of like dwarves, as I get them all. Sleepy.
They are made in your image. They're made in your image. That's been the thing that we've been talking the most about is
who it's going to look like.
Who's the baby going to look like?
Who they're going to act like.
Well,
the Amazon guy.
Yeah, the milkman.
There's no milkman anymore now. It's the Amazon guy.
Lord knows he's been in my house enough.
What do you think?
Yeah, there's
about
all this stuff you need. You have to have it. You have to have it. You have to have it. Don't use none of it.
Okay, that's part of being a dad. Part of being a dad is, buying stuff you're never going to use. The Graco.
You gotta have
the Graco car seat. We were going over this earlier with Andy, explaining how it's important. You got to pick a system, because as you buy new things, they all interlock and interconnect, and you can't, get a Graco this and a.
You gotta have it. You need it 2 months ago, and then when you get it, people are going to bring you 5 of them.
I probably should know what brand of stuff we have, but I don't.
You will, by God.
She manages all that.
Have you ever searched Walmart's website?
Yeah, every week.
You can get a Gibson Les Paul at Walmart if you wanted to.
Well,
anything you put in that search engine, Walmart will deliver it to you.
It's through Walmart.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
I'm always amazed at like.
Yeah, you can get a mixing board like this at Walmart. You can't walk in and get it, but you can, some seller out there has, hooked their wagon to Walmart, just like Amazon. It's the Amazon model.
I'm at Walmart every day.
It's like
I live 5 minutes away. Did I tell you about? I think I told you. Did I tell you about my? Well, I can't see. Here's where this stuff, gets to be an issue, because I have a great story about a recent Walmart visit that I can't. Well, I can tell you the story and just why I was amazed by it.
Yeah, change it just so that we don't know the guilty or the innocent.
So I get home from work and I'm taking a shower and had one of those. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but
It's
like
TMI.
It's
TMI. I don't want to hear that.
But I had one of those days that for some reason I was out of everything. The same day I got in, I was like, I don't have any more of my shampoo and my body wash, and everything was, out at the same time. So got out of the shower and just went ahead to Walmart to grab all that stuff. And then, of course...
And you were right out of the shower, no clothes, because you didn't have to put any of that stuff on.
I got dressed and I was on my way over there. The wife's like, go ahead and pick up this, and this too. So I'm like, okay. So the first thing I do when I get to Walmart is go to the pharmacy section to get my essentials. And then I'm walking over to the grocery section. So I'm walking to the grocery section, and the only thing is that's in my cart, the little top part, is just bathroom stuff. It's body wash, shampoo. Let's just be honest. I know most people don't know me, but there was some hairspray and some products in there that most men wouldn't have.
Very surprising.
So I'm walking to the grocery section, and I walk by this couple, seem to be married or whatever. The guy's wearing a camo jacket and kind of some...
Had no hairspray on.
No. In fact, he felt so inclined that when he walked by me, he looked at me and said, "Hello, F word." As in, and I was just so...
He really said that to you?
Yes, absolutely.
If that
it wasn't even... I wasn't... And I couldn't stop thinking, I couldn't stop thinking of what makes a person so inclined.
Feel comfortable.
Like, I can't take it. I've got to say something. No, not even that. Just like, I'm not letting this guy walk by without letting him know.
Because he obviously doesn't know, or he wouldn't be walking around in Walmart with hair products in a buggy.
Right. But, I mean...
Like, you're going to stop and be like,
maybe?
Wow, really? I mean, I've been on the fence about it, but your insight.
I may be envious. Maybe I just wish that
that you didn't.
Maybe we all should just be so, have no inhibitions.
That kid is still on the escalator. Some things just bug people. I think these guys are still walking around with hairspray.
Look at him.
He's just walking around here like he owns it.
He doesn't even care who sees it.
I think that there are some people that are threatened by the fact that you are not meeting the standard definition of what a man is. Yeah. And it makes him uncomfortable. So
my wife tells me that every day.
He can't deal with those feelings. You don't meet the standard definition of what a man is? I mean,
my kids are like, Mom says you're not meeting the definition of a man.
I can honestly say I've actually my whole life, and I'm not coming out here or anything, but I have always actually my entire life had that feeling of I do not meet the standard definition of a man because my dad is such a man and so awesome. Like, my dad has been like the epitome my entire life of a hard-working man. Only seen him like in... No matter how much pain he's in, you're not going to know per se, unless it's, what I'm saying, like, he's not one to...
I mean, same, but completely the opposite experience. I also can relate to that feeling, but it's not because I had a role model of that. In fact, it was the absence of it.
Oh, gotcha.
So if nobody teaches you how to be that, then, I mean, my mom, bless her heart, tried her best, but, I mean, that only goes so far. And I'm sure that's...
Did she attempt, like, when you were younger, did she try to, like, thinking back, do you ever remember moments where she was, like... did she ever try to, like, take you fishing? And
yeah, she would take me fishing. We played baseball.
Dude,
she took you to wrestling.
Yeah, I went to WrestleMania
in an escape pod.
So jealous.
In a 1991 Geo escape pod.
Yeah,
it was like
she definitely tried, but I mean, there's only so much you can teach somebody. So it's funny how we can have two.
And a lot wouldn't have even tried.
Yeah, and I mean, she was a single mom. I mean, my grandmother was there, and my grandmother was probably the most masculine influence I had in my life.
That's another thing that you and I share a great deal. I felt like is very, very close to the grandparents coming up, and
Yeah.
like as much as my dad did, I was kind of also raised by grandparents while he was always working because mom was gone and whatnot. I'm sure we'll get into all the. We got some pretty messed up family stories we'll get into.
That's what we have bonded over is broken families.
I was actually wondering earlier today when I was thinking about this, and I was like, what will we say or blah, blah, blah. I can remember still the first day that I met Wes. I do not remember the first day I met you.
Okay, so I gotta ask, where did we meet?
I met you at your, not in your house, but at your house in your garage, and you were selling an amplifier to Jeremy Hatfield, a Fender Bassman with an enormous cabinet.
God, I wish I hadn't sold that.
And that may have been the same night that we saw you and your rock and roll band,
Yeah, probably.
7 Day Jesus with Black Eyed Siva and Dime Store Prophets.
The same day?
I think it was after the show.
It could have been. Yeah, I remember. It was a Bassman 50 head.
Wes was a 90s rocker.
We all, to be honest, we all were. And, you know, I thought we were going to go through a little introduction, but we didn't. We kind of went to the meat, and then we come back up and take a breath.
I was gonna, and then you were all of a sudden like, we're recording, by the way. He does what he always does and just takes control of it.
I put the pedal to the metal, son.
Somebody's
I
got
got 1 foot on the pedal,
If it was up to us,
1 foot in the grave.
we would still be talking into a mic that wasn't
You'll never
on.
know because he would always take control.
I don't know that I remember the first day I met you. You just were suddenly there. I mean,
Well, not only, but we got so close and were best friends for years and lived together for years, and I don't even remember. I do remember moving when we started rooming together because that was the same day that my mom, when I tried to reconnect with my mom, she just had one of her
didn't I go pick
episodes, and no, my uncle, her brother picked me up and was like, wherever you want to go, I'll take you.
you up? And you came to my house and you just stayed, right?
I don't remember. That's where I wound up. I don't remember how it happened or why it happened. Or maybe I talked to you and was like, this just happened. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you were like, come here.
Yeah, I'm sure. That was the party attic. There was a lot that went on up in that upstairs.
Yeah.
So for the listener,
Good and bad.
Yeah.
now, Color Me Dad takes place at the end, or 25 years deep into 3 young Huntington natives annoying each other for 25 years, and
I can honestly say neither one of you have ever annoyed me out of any of the friends that I have.
I feel like if I think a little bit, I'll come up with something.
Oh, but not on a regular basis.
I know that I've annoyed both of you. Neither one of you are very good at hiding it.
I think
I disagree.
anytime you put teenage,
Speaking for myself, I disagree. If I came across that way, I don't. Most everybody else I can think of offhand, I can be like, oh, that person.
We lived together. I can recall specific instances of us annoying each other.
I guess that's true.
I know of a young boy named Jerry who you guys annoyed the absolute snot out of, and that's probably why he never came back to Huntington. He lives.
And Chris.
He had it coming.
Well, but you guys would stay at Jerry's house and sleep there, and
Yeah. I was living. Jerry. It was
Noodle.
awful. We're gonna have to bring Jerry in to one of these eventually, just so we can apologize, because really, just for you saying that, it really was because I had to move away to Kentucky.
you come
and
out.
couldn't hang out with anyone, and so Jerry would be like, come here for the weekend and you can just stay with me, and I'd be like, okay. So I got to hang out with my friends, and then I came here, stayed there, and all we did was gang up on Jerry for his troubles.
So just take one more step. He's going to listen to this. Just pull out your heart.
Jerry, you had it coming. No, and I had this conversation not long ago. A good friend of mine from Atlanta called me and was like, I just ran in, and I won't use any of these people's names, it won't matter. But he was like, hey, I just ran into so-and-so the other day. I hadn't seen her in years. And she immediately was just going on about how much she hated this mutual guy we know, and it was like literally from like, and this is when we were in our mid-20s, and the both of us were like, you can't blame anyone for anything they did in their mid-20s because everyone in their mid-20s is an absolute moron.
Yeah.
So even more so saying, I was absolutely in the wrong, but I doubt Jerry blames me for the way I acted when I was.
You never know, but
you never know.
Hope
Maybe
not.
he does.
Hope not.
I don't think so. I kind of feel the same way.
He went off and bested all of us. Well, no. Well,
He did.
I mean,
Yeah, he's got.
I won't say that. I
seems
won't.
happy.
I won't. You know.
He seems happy. He's got a family.
He could grow a beard.
Yeah, well, I can't do that.
Man, he's got me like unreal.
I kind of feel that way about.
He did exactly what I wanted to do in life that didn't come to fruition.
What?
He went out. He joined a band that he loved. He made money by just going around and touring the world and playing music with his friends. He made records and
Yeah, good for him.
yeah. So it's probably because we made so much fun of him that he had the gumption to go out and do that. So actually, Jerry probably owes me a thank you.
Thank you for that game of bag tag. It really saved my life.
You're welcome, Jerry.
Okay, so you know that this is bad, like dead air. I've been on the radio enough.
It's episode 1, man. We can't help it. It's inevitable. I knew it was going to be bad.
Well, this is not bad, first of all, but
When you hear the term episode 1, still to this day, do you get like,
episode 1?
yeah, like,
He thinks Star Wars. I guarantee.
Yeah,
it.
as soon as you said episode 1, I'm like, yeah, Star Wars.
Okay,
It
well,
wasn't,
that's
it wasn't
what I
as bad. And you want to
that's-
talk about episode 1?
That's what I was bringing up.
Jar
But
Jar.
when every time I hear someone say the term or use, episode 1, that's immediately the first thing I think of.
When somebody says episode 2, I think of Electric Boogaloo. Do you remember Breakin' 2? Mm-hmm. Somebody says episode 2, or
Electric Boogaloo.
I've heard that, but I don't know what that is.
You don't know what breaking is?
Breakin', like breakdancing.
They made it. It was
in
a
the
great
80s.
movie about breakdancing.
Oh, it was the worst movie ever about anything, but it happened to be about breakdancing. And it was called Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, there was a Breakin', and Breakin' 2 was the sequel. But Breakin' 2, I guess, did not stand off enough on its own.
You need another. It made like $12. They figure we'll make another $28 if we do
So
another
is
one.
that on the short list of sequels that were more successful than their predecessors?
Probably. Anything with Electric Boogaloo in the title, I'm gonna have to check it out.
What's the best sequel?
Empire Strikes Back. I mean, come on.
No. I know the answer to this. It's The Godfather. The Godfather Part 2 is the best sequel ever.
Yeah,
Young Guns.
Yeah, we can't have any. I think we made
Wayne's
a
World.
rule about any episode. We cannot.
Not at all.
Wayne's World 2
Was not better than 1.
It had. Was that when he met the girl Cassandra?
No, that was
one.
She was there, but
not
part
when
2
you-
had Aerosmith. It was part 2 is he kept seeing the ghost of Jim Morrison telling him to put on a concert, and he had Jim Morrison's weird naked Indian friend.
and that's not better?
I don't remember it, but it's really cracking me up right
I mean,
now.
it's
Austin Powers Part 2 is the better movie of the 3.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
just didn't care enough about the.
About that franchise. I was thinking the other day when we were looking at doing this, if everybody know what a Venn diagram is, right? You draw a circle and then it intersects here.
Yep.
Like, it's funny how we intersect, like he and I intersect on something that you don't.
Right.
And you and I intersect on things that he doesn't. And I almost want to draw it out one day just to look at it visually because it's kind of funny. All these things that, musically even, we could Venn
We
diagram.
also,
music.
all three have stuff that neither of the other guys would like care about or be into at all.
Yeah, Nancy Griffith. Yeah, exactly.
Who?
Nancy Griffith. You guys ever heard of Nancy Griffith? She's dead now, but she's a folk singer in the 70s and 80s. She was the female John Denver. I really like Nancy Griffith.
I have zero idea who you're talking about.
Oh, come on. So there you go.
You do like
intro into our Venn diagram.
You do like all kinds of bad stuff.
Well, I have Michael
Your
Jackson.
girls that are listening out right now,
Let me tell you something.
That's one reason I feel really sorry for you, because you're listen to this.
Let me tell you something.
I know how terrible.
Let me tell you, when it's cold outside and we're driving to school, my girls will pick Nancy Griffith, a certain CD. It's perfect for winter.
It's because they want you to shut up.
I guarantee my wife knows who that is.
They're just his kids are just like, just put the Nancy Griffith on. I don't want to hear it today. I don't want to hear about what we didn't do or what we didn't clean. Just play Nancy Griffith and he'll just go. And then he'll beat on their legs the whole time that he's driving.
We actually have a running issue between me and my wife. Is I've always adopted the philosophy that if you are the passenger, you are subject to being the drum.
That's straight up from Wes.
Yeah, absolutely. He used to beat the crap out of me.
That's dad stuff.
But she does not feel that.
No, that wasn't a dad thing. Did your dad do that?
No, I guess he didn't.
Yeah, that's just straight up.
I guess it's just me.
That's long car trips and listen to the Moses.
Listen to this part. Wham, wham, wham.
My knee and upper thigh burn every time I listen to the Posies to this day.
Especially Frosting on the Beater.
Yeah.
See, there's the center of the Venn diagram where we all come in and love. Best Posies album.
I wonder if anybody listening to this.
Best Posies album, is that like a question?
It's a question.
That's not a question.
It's
amazing
disgrace.
Yeah, we had this debate at work.
That's false.
You think Frosting on the Beater's better?
No, I know it is.
I love Frosting on the Beater.
And wait,
I think
that's
Amazing Disgrace is
aren't you Dear 23?
I am a Dear 23.
He is Dear 23. That's very odd. That's very odd.
We should not do this podcast.
I'm just going to hit delete.
That's a wrap.
Delete it.
Although lately, I've kind of been really liking Success the most.
Now you're on the other side of it. You still missed the best one, but
I mean,
maybe it's a psychological thing where now you feel successful.
Ah, there you go. He does have that shirt on from JCPenney's.
You don't wear this unless you're at a Success.
Well, we're having a child. I think I'll need some new clothes.
I think I'll need sweaters that half zip. I'm a dad.
Well, yeah, because I had to give away all my cargo shorts and oversized Batman t-shirts.
Why?
Literal.
You can still wear cargo shorts?
No, you can't.
Why?
Because it's not 1995.
Oh, well.
Depends on who you ask.
I'm sorry. I have a couple pairs of cargo shorts.
This was an area of intense debate and discussion.
At your house?
Yes.
You can't wear cargo shorts?
No, I can't wear big cargo shorts.
Okay.
I can't wear Dickie shorts.
She wants you to wear like.
She wants me to dress.
I can't even say it. She wants you to wear like the new thigh high tight shorts, because that's just gross. That's like a man with fingernails.
No.
I heard you can buy a man bun you can clip up there so people won't know you don't have one.
My wife, I come home all the time now, and my wife has Holden, my 2-year-old, in a man bun, and I yank it down every time. She's like, it's adorable.
The guy at Walmart told me I cannot do this.
We can't take him to Walmart like this, Tristan. I know what happens. I have a 13-year-old now too, Lane, and we started going to school and picking him up and stuff like that. And I stopped. I stopped wearing like lip ring and stuff like that I've worn for years or whatever, just because and I'm already got like all the tattoos and stuff like that. So I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't see how cargo shorts.
I think what he's
fall
saying,
into that.
Tell me if I'm right, it's more of it's not 1995.
Yeah,
you can't pretend
this is like a couple. This isn't about being a dad. This is a couple's.
Yeah, like I was borderline.
I was confused. I was like, Andy, I'm pregnant. I don't want to see those shorts.
No. It was I'm borderline delusional about what decade it is. I did not change my style of dress. Like, I got to 1997, I was like, this is cool. This is good enough.
That'll do, pig.
Yeah.
This is it. I found it.
I really didn't, think there was a problem. And then just little by little, things would just start disappearing out of my dresser.
And then he comes in home one day, and there's people are gathered around the room. Andy, we're here to talk to you.
Nani's intervention.
And we've all got JCPenney bags.
Yeah.
We have bought. I want you to try this on.
You
why?
take that JCPenney bag and smother yourself with it. pry this Batman T-shirt out of my cold dead.
Where are my cargo shorts?
Yeah, where are all my clothes?
Speaking of which, and I will say too, there are very few things left in this world that make me get excited and feel like a kid again and not feel like I'm old.
In cargo shorts.
No, this week is the Batman movie, and that makes me feel like a kid every time.
Now we're in the
I'm actually excited for the first time in a few months.
Care less.
See,
I don't care about
this
Batman.
is a great part of the Venn diagram because you're all Batman all the time, right?
I love Batman.
And I kind of like Batman.
I cannot tell you why.
Well, he's obviously can just do it, get it done.
Because I'm not a comic, like I'm not like a super, like it's not, it pretty much dies there. Like I don't like read comic books or collect. It's just, there's something about the whole Batman thing. Like I hate the old campy stuff that everyone says they like the most. The old Adam West. I think that's
You're secretly in love with Christian Bale.
No, Ben Affleck.
There's
He's
so
the worst
many.
Batman.
My son's named after Ben Affleck. Holden
is Ben.
is Ben Affleck and Chasing Amy. That's why I picked that name.
That's bizarre. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Let's go back to cargo shorts. I feel like I can swim through that muck. But Ben Affleck, he was in Mallrats. I guess that makes him.
He's just always. The only movie that he was even moderately cool in was Dazed and Confused.
Oh.
He was the worst part of Dazed and Confused. He was like the worst character. Like you wanted him to die.
He was perfect for that. He played the best asshole.
I guess he kind of did the same thing in Mallrats too.
Yeah, he was the guy you didn't like. Nobody liked. Yeah.
But
I think in real life he plays that, so it works out.
the whole Holden thing, it was honestly like it really. I'm jesting. It was named after that. I just heard that name in that movie. I thought it was an unusual name, and I've always loved that name. That doesn't have anything to do with Ben Affleck. However, I do say, and this is blasphemy to everyone that I say it to, that Ben Affleck was the best Batman.
Yeah,
Because
I think you're alone in that one.
yeah, sitting on the sidelines, it doesn't.
But you
sound
guys
right.
don't know anything about Batman, so you have no frame of reference.
I know all about Batman, and
I know that it's Michael
just-
Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton is definitely.
But that's because we're old. That doesn't have anything to do. Very little. That has Michael Keaton, and that whole movie actually has very little to do with the actual character and like the actual story and the origin stuff.
But
So you're saying Ben Affleck personifies what Batman is the best?
in the comics, like the original material, absolutely.
Please.
Grizzled, old, like I'm tired, like Nick Nolte style, got a cigarette, like I'm getting too old for this.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
More so than
Christian Bale, I mean, to me, as far as sitting down and watching 3 Batman films, I think I would watch the Christian Bale movies over.
Those movies were only successful because everyone else in the movies were absolutely perfect and incredible. He was the worst part of those movies.
I thought he.
And there's a lot of really successful stuff like that, I feel. I was obsessed with Sons of Anarchy when it was on, and Charlie Hunnam, the star, was the worst part of the show.
That's one. I mean, I like those kind of shows, but that's not one that I've ever dived into.
Best television series.
The Sopranos.
Yeah, it's The Sopranos.
Yeah.
We all 3 agree on that?
I don't think I agree. I just knew what Andy was going to say.
I think it's 1A and 1B. There's another that
Breaking Bad.
No.
Oh.
That's number 2.
Surprise.
The Wire.
Oh, I've never seen The Wire.
It is fantastic.
Watch a
The
lot of
Simpsons
movies.
and King of the Hill. Totally different spectrum, but
Yeah, it's a
I
different
can't
spectrum,
really
but-
talk about television shows and discount those.
Yeah, King of the Hill for me is way, way up top, and certainly I would
Coming
any
back.
day of any week of any year I would pick on.
It's coming back,
know.
they say. We don't know. There's no information.
I've told you guys at least in text all my ideas about it. I mean, you got to admit, you got to give me here.
Have you heard his ideas for the new?
For years.
I just heard of it recently, and I was
We've talked
actually
about
very,
this.
very surprised because he's like, "Let me tell you what's going to happen." I was like, "All right."
Well, no, I know they
and I was
won't do
actually very impressed.
I don't think they'll do it, but I do think it would be really cool to watch in terms of being a fan and watching like how things roll. if Luann was still alive, we don't ever have to hear from her other than letters, or maybe she calls and during the worst situation in the world, and it's her leaving a message or something.
And that's totally feasible because there's people that's their job is to sound like other people.
Right. And then I think she should be in prison for killing Lucky. I think that would be a great angle for her.
Both of them are not on the show.
That
Who
and
has the baby?
Okay, so listen. So first, Luann is in prison for stabbing Lucky, and in prison, Peggy mentions offhand once to let us know that she is the best hairstylist that has ever been in there, right? So it's like her life flips. Like she really enjoys prison, and then later on, a couple seasons down, she could stab somebody because she wants to stay in there. Because her life has really been way better. Like she's the most famous hairdresser.
She's doing hair in prison.
Exactly.
For some reason, I kind of drifted off like in my head for a moment, and I thought I thought you were going to say the daughter was in town and they like lived with them or whatever, and she was the best hairdresser.
Well, I think the daughter that Lucky's daughter and her daughter, I think, would still live with Hank and
Absolutely.
Peggy, and because he can't get rid of
Right.
her. And then the best idea, because it's like Leann leaves finally, and she leaves the kid. And the best idea that I've come up with is the fact that Cotton dies, and Nancy.
Cotton's been dead.
I know, I'm saying, but Cotton's dead. So Nancy leaves Dale finally, and you don't know it until they show her signing off the weather as Nancy Hicks Redcorn, right? Mm-hmm. And then you realize that Dale has married DADD because he, out of obligation to the Colonel, he loves the Colonel so much, but in reality, he just wants to stick it to Hank that he's his stepdad.
Now that is something that I would wish to God that they would do.
I think that would be hilarious.
Copyright Wes Simpkins.
I would give it to them. I would just love to see that play out in real life.
There's a girl on TikTok.
He would not give it to him. He'd be
I
like,
would totally give it to him.
Do you
for
guys
free.
have any microphones?
Yeah, I would take a Neumann microphone. Yeah, give me $1,000 microphone.
There's a girl on TikTok that does King of the Hill, like she does reviews, and she had an episode where she talked about the upcoming. Like if they bring the series back.
Yeah.
And she had a really interesting theory about what happens to Con Jr., which is she goes away and is, classically trained or has a PhD or something to that effect, and comes back, and somehow her and Bobby kind of hang out and rekindle, but somewhere along the way, she starts working with Hank selling propane. And she realizes that is what she was put on the earth to do, and she's really good at it, and
and she's really intense about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't believe that somebody has made a way to sell more propane.
Now that's something I would like to see.
And of course, the whole time saying, Dale, I'm not your stepson.
That show is very strange to me in the sense that I've seen I own them all, and I've seen them all more times than I could even say, and I can watch any episode any day at any time, and it's the only show that I've never been like I can't. For some reason, I feel this weird thing. I feel like every single time I watch it, I'm catching stuff that I never noticed before, and I've probably watched them more than any other television show.
I feel like my life is exactly like when they all jumped off the boat and didn't put the ladder down. That's my life. It's just, in reality, though, my life is that scene from Billy Madison where he pulls up in the REO Speedwagon shirt with his car jamming 80s tunes.
Let's be honest, it's an Amy Grant t-shirt.
That's why I don't have cargo pants anymore.
That's why.
Because in my head, that's who I am.
Hey guys, I'm still cool.
Cargo pants are still sold everywhere. I don't think those are...
Okay, let me explain it this way. Long below the knee.
The title of this
pants.
episode.
No, I've got it already. It's cargo pants embargo. That's the title. And I think I was getting ready to tell you guys at the end of every episode, that's when we should name the episode, because you can't know in advance. And the name of this episode is the cargo pants
I would
embargo.
like to suggest that I really like I'd like to hear like a little intro, what have you. And before every episode, I would like you to record a little today's episode and then the title. And then it goes.
On a special episode of Color Me Dad. My wife's first concert ever in her life
Was Bonus Mahoney?
No, 1991. Color Me Bad, right over there at the
They came
river,
here?
the riverfront.
At the field house.
No, the riverfront.
Was it the regatta?
Probably something like that.
You got a regatta.
You gotta. Go ahead.
Okay, first concerts.
First concerts. It's funny. My first concert was at the exact same place, the Boat at the riverfront. Mm-hmm. It was a band called XYZ. They were metal. Mm-hmm. But opening up was John Lancaster's band, right? At the time, I think they were called Ecstasy. And
that's correct. I've never heard that, but I do know that was the thing. And just really, really quick, sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you. Anyone listening to this right now that you don't know you don't live here, whatever, there's a band called Chum. Look on the internet. It's on YouTube, anything. Look up a band called Chum and an album called Dead to the World, and you can write in and thank us later. Because it's one of the best things you'll ever hear.
And that is the center of our Venn diagram. We absolutely all land in the middle of the Venn diagram on an album called Dead to the World by a band called Chum, who played right across the street there all the time. Right across the street where I'm looking at right now. But my first concert was at the River. John Lancaster's band was the first time I saw any incarnation of John Lancaster, what he was doing. And I remember that. I don't remember the band, the main act. I don't remember anything about them other than their name. But I remember seeing that band, and it was like the start of something. You go ahead a few more years, and I saw what was called Guru Love Child downstairs in the Marshall Student Center with all the little wood against the wall, that thing. And I saw that, and that absolutely, all this stuff like has such an effect on me, like musically and certainly like being in bands and things like that, like always looking ahead and like, man, it would be cool if we could do something cool like that.
I just remembered the first night that I met you.
Where was it?
The 7 Day Jesus show that we were talking about earlier.
At the Kawasaki shop?
Yes.
Really? That was the first place?
I think so.
Well, I guarantee all of
the same one we were talking about earlier that I met you, where afterwards we went to your house to buy the bass amp. I'm pretty sure you were at that show. I was. And I was introduced to you through the same person and Wes and whatnot. And I think that was when I don't know if we hung out. I don't know if we talked much, but I think that was the first time I met you.
That was 1996.
One of those shows, and it's weird to say this because of how long I've known you and we've played in bands and stuff together, but that show really was one of those moments for me. Like, I remember being at that show and was like, I'm going to start a band. Like, I'm going to be in a band. Even just as much from Black Eyed Siva.
Yeah.
Great band.
My first concert was Billy Ray Cyrus.
And my last concert will be Billy Ray Cyrus.
I had a cousin or uncle that worked at a radio station and got us.
They couldn't give the tickets away.
Yeah. I got to tell you a story about this Billy Ray Cyrus show.
Oh, hell.
So the Civic Center has a convention center attached to it. And we had like VIP tickets because, it was the top of the line tickets that we got.
Because anyone that went was a VIP.
This was like...
you are my VIP, let me tell you right now.
This was like way after he blew up. Like, this was probably 1993.
Oh, okay.
So me and my cousin, and I think her boyfriend at the time, went to this show. And part of the VIP part was we got these like pre-concert passes to this part at the convention center where like they served food, and like the highlight of it was that Billy Ray was going to come in and like you were going to get to meet him like pre-show. And we waited and waited and waited. He came in finally. And there were people that were reacting to him like he was Elvis Presley. Like, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
He was kind of the Elvis Presley of Ashland.
Yeah, I would say if Ashland, Kentucky had an Elvis Presley, it absolutely was Billy Ray Cyrus, and is today. He could waltz down Greenup Avenue and just make everybody fall.
My mom used to see him play at like some local bar around
the Ragtime Lounge.
Yes, that's it.
And there was a sign, like the outside of the building said, "The house that Billy built."
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But yeah, that was my very first concert.
Did you like it? at the time? Did you walk away thinking, man, that was pretty good?
I'm going to grow my hair.
Just in the back.
Okay, all jokes aside,
And everyone did. That's not a
freshman year, I had a complete Billy Ray Cyrus hairdo.
That's cool.
Your freshman year of high school.
Freshman year of high school, 1992.
Luckily, he cut it off before I met him.
My
Yes.
freshman year of high school, I had the same thing.
How have I not seen that?
Well, let me tell you how it happened because it's it's actually funny because my friend Doug, which I'm sure everyone listening will hear about later, we grew up like best friends, like brothers, since we were like 12 years old, and we had met right before high school at this little camp or whatever, and met each other, and we were both alternate teens and into grunge and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And in the time in between that and when school started, my dad, and at the time I had like the cool, grunge alternative hair with all my hair in my face and yada yada. And my dad eventually made me cut it. Like, you ain't wearing your hair like that no more. It's getting cut. And
This was your loophole.
And I couldn't part with the long hair so hard that I was like, he was like, you can keep the back. But that's it. And Doug to this day was like, man, like I saw you like the first day of school and I was like super bummed out. He was like, I like that dude, man. And now I don't think we can hang out.
Big philosophical difference between long hair all over and long hair in the back.
Yeah.
The grandmas liked the mullet because,
It's back. It is back.
Oh, no, it's way, way back.
Hard.
Everywhere I go, it's like...
Wow,
kids
how
have-
did that happen?
Well, how did it happen in the first place?
Everything comes back 20 years later.
Yeah, well, 30 in this case, but yeah, it's back.
They had like a best mullet contest around here recently.
Yeah, it used to be like a pejorative.
Have you ever seen pictures of the kids that like win these best mullet contests?
It got really good.
They are adorable. There's this one little kid, man, and he's got like glamour shots taken of himself, and he's, the
never thought I would hear
fist on the chin sort of thing. Like, it's
I never thought I would hear those words in the same sentence.
adorable and mullet.
Yes. I mean,
Smile, Billy.
they're not like rat tail
Fluff it out.
Wait, it's not coming over this shoulder. Hang on.
Do y'all have any Aquanet here? Or
Did I need to bring my own?
Wow.
spritz?
I had kind of a mullet.
Spray.
It was coming around the sides. It was shaggy.
You always had like the Morrissey, Robert Smith type of swoop.
Well, now that's when you met me. And when you met me, now you gotta understand. Now, prior to that, I had hair.
That was the emo mullet in the early 2000s. The mullet in the front.
No, let me go through.
No, this was different.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it because it's like it never took off because anything I do is kind of left of planet Earth. But I had at first I had really like the long hair, like long all over. You know what I mean? And then when I cut it like right here to like almost to my, I guess, the bottom of my eyes in the front, and it went up in the back. Like
Yeah, it was
went
at
up
an
to a
angle.
normal- Yeah, so it was like coming down in an angle. I guess
He had everything but the skateboard.
Yeah, right, exactly. Think Terminator 2, John.
Yeah.
John.
Eddie Furlong.
Yeah, is that his name?
I don't know. Okay, I think that sounds right.
Anyway, he had the kind of the hair down in the front, and that was me.
Did that inspire it? Were you like watching TT? Oh,
No,
another prime example, another better sequel.
Totally better
Yes.
sequel. And my daughters would agree. We, over this past summer...
You let them watch that?
We watched
No,
Terminator.
his daughters have seen they've quote unquote seen all these great movies, but
They're
he goes
heavily
through,
edited
he goes
versions.
through and edits them.
No, I didn't edit Terminator 2.
Really?
I mean, I sat there. I knew what was coming in a couple places, and I took care of it, but
Earmuffs.
I did not... Fingers and ears.
I hope you didn't edit the part when freaking Guns N' Roses comes barreling in
way. I
because
didn't
they
edit it.
have
Why would I
got
edit
to
that?
hear that.
They hear that all the time. We're welcome to the jungle all the time in my house. But we did watch Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, and they were like, Terminator 1's so boring, and it really is.
Yeah,
like,
it sucks.
And then you watch Terminator 2, and they're like, okay, I kind of get it, but it's not rewatchable for them. Like,
Why is that man naked?
Well, because when you go through time, you can't keep your clothes on. It's just a rule. Just go with the rule.
Did you watch any of the other ones? Like, and there
No,
two
there's
more after that?
there's so many. There's
those
way
don't-
too many.
Like Judgment Day.
Those don't count.
Yeah, there's way too many. The first two are
it's
the
like
real ones.
Homeward Bound 6.
It's a
Aladdin
pig.
4.
It's a pig and a duck. They're lost in the city. Airbud 9.
Listen, when you're a dad
He plays
and,
soccer.
and your kid, you know what? You have not experienced this, Andy. Here we are talking about you going into this.
Oh yeah, watch all the TV that you can now.
It takes about a year and a half, and then forget about it. Like whatever the TV, I mean, it's on Backyardigans or whatever. I will
the
say
same
this.
episodes over and over.
I will
they
say
don't
this.
care.
And I don't know what you're going to say. Probably not here, but you've got a little one, okay? And if you haven't, you need to jump on it. And anybody listening have little kids. The best show to watch together, right? That's what's gold, is finding a show that your kid likes and you like it and can watch it, is a show called Bluey, okay? And they're real short. They're like 6-7 minutes each episode. There's like 100 episodes.
I'm not familiar.
You got to watch it. It's very, very funny, very cool. I mean, laughing out loud. Like
My favorite thing on this earth is watching you watch things that you find funny.
Well, today they're called reaction videos, and I guess I need to do a couple of those.
I would pay money to watch them. That's the one thing I miss about working with you, is watching him watch Impractical Jokers is...
I don't know that we said it worked and watched Practical Jokers.
There were a few times that we would
Everyone knows he's
double-clip.
watching it.
I mean, I'm definitely watching it.
Or just anything funny that happened. I mean, there's nobody on this earth that I like to watch laugh more than you.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, we've all played music together. We've all played in bands, and Andy and I have worked together, believe it or not.
Twice.
Well, yeah, many times.
I'm on Buns.
Many times. You know what? First episode, I've got to tell the story about 1996, McDonald's. Andy and I are in the back. There's a couple people up front. One person's up front, one's in the drive-thru, and it's like a Saturday night, and it's deader. We've already shut off the shake machine. Everybody knows McDonald's does that when it gets lightweight. And a bus pulls in with about 300 people. I don't know. And so everything just gets hopping, and I'm like dropping meat on the thing, and I'm putting stuff together. Andy's back there. Now, McDonald's today does not toast their buns. They come what's called pre-toasted. And that happened while we were still working there. But at the time, we were getting Heiner's buns, putting them in these big bun racks, and putting them in this metal thing and closing. And you close it for like, I don't know, 45 seconds. And it would do like 24 buns.
And that was my job. I toasted buns.
And he was toasting buns. And he's got
Like
zillions.
for like a long period of time. You were just like, that was your station,
Well,
just toasting.
Yeah,
buns?
regular
if it was
buns.
really,
I've never worked at a corporate restaurant.
Okay, if it was really busy, you know, so you'd have one person on buns, and you have one person on meat, you have two people making sandwiches and dealing with the queue and all that and putting them in there. But it's like literally me, I'm the only one. It's like that Bugs Bunny where he's left field Bugs Bunny, catching Bugs Bunny, pitching Bugs Bunny. And I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, Andy, can you like drop meat or something? He's like, dude, I'm on buns. He's got 4 zillion buns back there ready to go.
I'm on buns. That's what I do.
It's just amazing because that was pre-marijuana. Like that would have been, totally understandable. Like, dude, I'm on buns, man.
I was so good at doing buns that I got a raise from it one time.
And then they totally eliminated your job with pre-toasted buns.
They did.
It's this American story right there.
I did not last at McDonald's very long.
The regional guy came in one day and I'm running late. Just give me a cheeseburger. Who made this bun?
Who toasted this bun?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. What's wrong? Merritt! Yes, sir?
I've never
This
tasted it.
is the best bun.
It is crispy to the edges.
Give that man a raise. Put him on ketchup.
That's actually a true story. True story.
It is a true story.
True story.
There used to be this thing around here called Drums Across the Tri-State. And I worked a Drums Across the Tri-State shift one time, and it was unbelievably busy for like 8 solid hours, and that's all I did. And I think they gave everybody that worked that night a raise, but I remember it was the very first raise that I ever got.
From McDonald's?
Yeah.
They catered?
No. It was literally behind the restaurant.
Oh, I got you. So
I worked at the one by the football stadium.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so anything happening at the stadium, it was huge. Sure.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to be off,
You were not.
You were not
like,
off. Yeah.
You're off forever.
Yeah, you're off. Stay home. Don't come back. Those were fun times for sure.
My very first day of working at McDonald's. I'll never forget this. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I went to go work breakfast with you, and I rolled.
Did you get him the job?
Probably.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, it's great. You go at 5 and you're off by 1 or 2." And like, he's always been a morning person. I'm just like, oh, I'm still. Yeah, it didn't work very long. I remember I was coming down my driveway and I hit something, and I got a flat tire. So I was like 45 minutes late for my very first day.
You'd explain to them.
You had to explain to him. He's not normally like this. Yeah. I'm sure.
In my mind, I'm thinking he's totally like this.
He was back at the back pacing, going, "No,
I remember.
No, no."
This is before cell phones. And I think Andy had a pager.
I'm sure I had a pager
at the time. I think I had a pager one time, but
911.
I remember us having a band practice one day. And you were like, it was like 20 minutes late, and I called your mom. I called your house, and your mom answered, and he goes, "Yeah, he just left." And I said, "Really? He just left?" She goes, "Yeah, I can see him right now in the driveway." And then Andy shows up, and he's like, "Man, traffic." I'm like, "No, you left 20 minutes late."
I always loved that when we lived together. When we lived together, you had to be at work early, and so at night, before you went to bed, you would go take a shower, and you would get dressed for work, and go to bed.
Yep.
In your work clothes, so
I could sleep longer. I did that in high school too.
Literally, the alarm would go off, and he would just step out of bed and walk directly downstairs to the car.
Get McDonald's on the way.
Yeah, I did that. I started doing that in high school.
It's just a matted wrinkle, like a wrinkled matted,
But I was clean.
Just all the bed sweat. No big deal.
Yeah. I'm still actually. Night shower or day shower?
Oh, night shower for sure. Yeah, totally.
I
don't like to roll around, and this has changed. Like as I became, I guess, an old man, an old fart. But
you used to wake up at like 5 in the morning and immediately go in the shower, and I was always fascinated. Like, how do you do that and not punch a wall?
I was always, as soon as I woke up, I was just up and ready to go, and that has changed.
I couldn't tell you the last time the alarm woke me up.
Yeah, you wake up before the alarm.
Because I always have to pee. I mean,
this is Color Me Dad.
This is here. Every single night. Like, it never fails. My body's like, you got to get up at 5:30? Well, it's 10 till 5, so
it's time to get up.
It's time to get up and pee.
He's got to get up at 5:30 and change into his cargo shorts so she doesn't see him leaving them.
I leave those in the car.
Oh, honey, I'm going to go to work a little early. No reason.
Why are your pants so puffy? There's nothing under there. Quit looking at my pants.
No reason.
Stop patting me down.
The cargo embargo. Hey, thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, drop us a line at askandy@colormedad. That's DADD.com. We want to thank the good old boys at the OzarkMountainDaredevils.com for the killer bumper tune. Check them out. And check us out on the web at colormedad. That's DADD.com.